Coconut Creek sham investigation into Vice Mayor Railey exposed as a waste of taxpayers' money. OMG. Finally, an independent article voiced their suspicions about the city's investigation into Vice Mayor Railey. I was blown away when I read the article this morning by the editor of Coconut Creek News, Dr. Mitchell Pelletier. It is everything we have alleged. The city's investigation was performed under a cloud of suspicion that left more questions unanswered and a total waste of taxpayers' money. The article also accused the city of their lack of transparency. Finally, a journalist who is unafraid to speak out and tell the truth. Here are the highlights from his article. Lynch's findings released this week concluded that Railey did not misuse her position and that no statutory or city code violations occurred. His review included police reports, emails, court documents, videos, and other records. However, the nature of the allegations against Railey remains unclear, as the city has not publicly disclosed specific details about what she was accused of doing. Trying to get answers led to a cryptic dead end. We first started with Railey in an email. Vice Mayor, you may have seen the press release from your city regarding an investigation sanctioned by the Commission. While it finds no grounds for allegations, it doesn't specifically state what the actual allegations were in misuse of your official role. What were you being accused of specifically? Railey's response. Good morning, Mitchell. Thank you so much for your interest. I am forwarding your inquiry to our city clerk, Joseph Kavanagh. Not the answer I expected. I was, however, provided a copy of something called Investigation Report for the City of Coconut Creek, authored by Lynch. It amounted to a one-page summary of Lynch's findings, but failed to answer the question. What was Railey accused of? Vice Mayor Railey has no problem answering questions if they are asked by Coconut Creek Talk or Tap into Coconut Creek. Her refusal to speak to coconutcreek.net tells you everything. No different to her refusal to address being found out that our Winmore vehicles are self-insured when for years they insisted they were covered by insurance. Her silence is deafening on both these issues. The article continues. Much of what I learned in this investigation had nothing to do with the real issue, without disclosing the real issue. Gleaned from Lynch's summary is the exoneration of Railey in securing a special privilege, benefit, or exemption for herself or others. It's anybody's guess what that means and should not be left to the imagination. Be assured, the question of Railey securing special privilege, benefit, or exemption for herself or others will be answered in detail shortly. The article continues. The list of evidence reviewed by Lynch includes a roof inspection and paver permit document, which could mean that Railey might be wrongly accused of using her role as a city commissioner to secure favors. We don't know. There is a lack of transparency on behalf of the city. We do know that the city manager, deputy city manager, and police chief were interviewed as witnesses, though whatever Railey is accused of predates the onboarding of city manager Sheila Rose and the hiring of police chief Fred Hoffer last year, rendering their testimony useless. There was no indication by Lynch as to whether he pursued predecessors Karen Brooks and Butch Arundel as witnesses. You are correct. Their testimony is useless, but I can tell you that Butch Arundel and Karen Brooks were not interviewed because they were not listed on the city document as having been interviewed. It should be noted that Butch Arundel, the disgraced ex-chief of police, was thrown out, as was Karen Brooks. Both were intricately linked to Railey. Butch disclosed confidential information to Railey that was announced in a Winmore meeting. He was also asked by Railey not to arrest her chief of security when he was caught on video burglarizing a unit. It was only after I wrote him a scathing email that O'Neill, Railey's chief of security, was arrested the following day. Railey allowed her chief of security to walk around Winmore for a month with the keys to the kingdom to continue his stealing spree, as evidenced in court papers by the Veerland family. Railey's chief of security was caught shortly after being caught on camera burglarizing the first unit with a stolen car and jewelry when he burglarized the second unit. He also forged the title of the vehicle. This was one of the issues the city was supposed to investigate and failed to do so. As for Karen Brooks, she sent an email directly to Vice Mayor Railey informing her that the permit was granted for the barbecue pad before the board of the association was informed. Her email confirmed the lengths Railey went to when she abused her position by interfering with an association, a violation of Statute 718. Karen Brooks's email was sent after months of Railey's communication with the permit department and Railey's proven withholding city documents from the association, all because she did not like the barbecue paver pad and wanted it removed. Railey withheld the information that the pad required a permit, withheld the letter from the permit department when a warning was issued, and then withheld the citation to cause financial harm to the association. It was only because she is a commissioner that she had access to the permit department and abused her position to benefit herself. This answers your question about one example where Railey used her position to secure favors. The statute is clear upon which the so-called investigation was supposed to be based. No public officer shall corruptly use or attempt to use his or her official position to secure a special privilege, benefit, or exemption for herself or other. Vice Mayor Railey wears two hats: Commissioner and President of Winmore. Her misuse of her role as Commissioner was for the sole purpose of benefiting herself and the President of Winmore, which is herself, also referred to in the statute as other. Why would the city exclude the most important issue at the center of this complaint? Vice Mayor Railey used her position as Commissioner to benefit herself as President. This is precisely what the statute prohibits, and yet the city chose to exclude anything to do with Winmore. Why? This is the most transparent thing about this investigation: the lengths the city went to protect Railey. The city claimed the investigation was to find out if Railey abused her position to benefit herself. The irony is that the city abused their position in how they handled this investigation to benefit themselves and other, as in Railey. They need to be investigated. What was so disingenuous about this investigation is the city limited Lynch's investigation to only two issues: the barbecue pad permit and a police report, when there were multiple false police reports Railey filed and a malicious false stalking charge, all of which they ignored, including the other issues I brought up in the speech when I addressed them in December. This was the speech that this investigation was supposed to be based upon. If this wasn't deceitful enough, they then restricted Lynch from looking at anything to do with Winmore. How is that for brazen? Railey's abuse of her position as Commissioner benefited the President of Winmore, herself, and Lynch was prohibited from investigating that. The article continued. Despite the conclusion that Railey committed no wrongdoing, the city has yet to announce what Railey was accused of specifically in her role as Commissioner, and Railey herself is closed-mouthed. While an investigative binder is available for review at the City Clerk's office, the lack of full disclosure raises questions about transparency in how the investigation was handled and reported. Moreover, why are taxpayers footing the bill for what appears to be a political battle between two candidates? This may well appear that way because of the manner in which this investigation was handled by the city. This investigation should only have focused on the issues I mentioned in the December speech, where I listed numerous examples Vice Mayor Railey abused her position to benefit herself or others. It is a disgrace that the city turned the investigation into something else. They made it political, deliberately, and did a huge disservice to the residents of Coconut Creek. The coincidence of the timing of the city's announcement that Railey was exonerated also cannot be ignored. How convenient that they released Tom Lynch's report days before the election. The question that now needs to be asked: how many more people are involved in this shady, suspicious, shifty, sham investigation? Another issue that came to light this week is that mail-in ballots have gone missing. What's up with that? CoconutCreekNews.net. Thank you. All your concerns, which are also ours, including what was Railey accused of specifically that the city failed to disclose, will be addressed in a video to be released shortly. The timing of your article was perfect, just in time for the residents of Coconut Creek to know the truth about how their city is run. I am Philippa Sklaar, and I approve this message.